Hey, fourth graders, this is area of a square, pages 289 to 290. So, on our last lesson, we went over the how to find out the area of a rectangle. We learned that area of rectangle is just multiplying the length times the width. So this is the rectangle here. So if I multiply the length here and the width here, I will get the area. So for example, let's say my length is So the length is let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's say 8 yards. Let's do yards. 8 yards, and the width 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is 5 yards. So if my length is 8 yards, my width is 5 yards. To find the area of a rectangle, I'll just multiply 8 times 5, and I will get area equals 40. 40 what? 40 square yards. Okay. Really important again that you guys write your answer in square units. Okay, so square yards, square something. Remember, SQ stands for square. Okay, so that's how you find the area of a rectangle. So today we're learning about finding the area of a square. So very similar. If you guys remember, a square has 4 equal sides. 4 sides that all of them are the same length. So if one side is 1 inch, that means all of the other 3 sides are also, if one side is 3 inches long, that means all the other sides have to be 3 inches long too. Because in order for it to be the square, they have to have the same length on all sides, okay? All right, so how do we find the area of a square? So very easy. So here's a formula that you need to know. So area for a square is just area equals side times side, right? S stands for a side. If you remember, in our square, we label all the sides as S. All right. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So one side is 4. Just do 4. Let's call this 4 miles. Okay. So this is 4 miles. So that means all the other sides are also what? Yep, 4 miles too. For it to be considered a square, it needs to have 4 sides that is the same length, right? So using my formula here, area equals side plus side, and I know that one side is 4 miles, so it would just be 4 times what? 4 times 4. So area equals 16 squared miles. All right. So really important that you guys just don't write 16. Don't just write 16, or don't write just 16 miles, because that's not correct. 16 square miles, meaning it will take me 16 squares that are 1 mile by 1 mile in length, okay, for me to fill this area here that's 4 miles by 4 miles wide, okay? So I'll need 16 squares here. So if I counted up all the squares, I should get 16. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah. So I was able to find the area of this square without having to just count up all the individual squares. I just multiplied one side by another side. All right. Okay. So let's go over some sample problems. So in your worksheet today, let me zoom out a little bit more. So in your worksheet today, you're going to find problems that look like, it would just say find the area of these squares, and it's just going to say S equals 7 feet. And that's it. Well, we know it's a square, so that means we can use the area of the formula for finding the area of a square. So first write the formula down. Area equals S times S, and we learned that S equals 7 feet for our square here. 7, so it would be 7 times 7. 7 times 7 equals 49 what? 49 squared mile or feet. Square feet. All right. That's all you need to know. That's all you have to do. So if I had a pretend square here, and yeah, pretend square. So let's say one side is 7 feet. The length is 7 feet wide, 7 feet tall. So if I wanted to fill up the square with, if I want to figure out how many square, like what the area is of the square, I just need to multiply one side by the other side. And that will get 49 square feet. So it will take me 49 squares of these individual squares that are 1 foot by 1 foot to cover my square here. Okay, let's do another example question. So it might say something like S equals 11 yards. So write the formula down. Area equals S times S. Area equals, so just plug it in. So since S equals 11, so 11 times 11. And 11 times 11 is, what's 11 times 11? So I'll multiply 11. 121. 121 what? Square what? Square yards. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna write a question here, simple question for you to do by yourself real quick. So do this one for me. S equals 13 meters. So I want you to find the area of this square, knowing that one side equals 13 meters. So what do you do? So what's the first thing you do? So yep, first thing you should do, write the area formula for finding the square, which is area equals S times S. Okay, so what's next step? All right, so area equals 13 times 13. Since S equals 13, I could plug in 13 into my formula here. And then if I multiply that, 13 times 13, I should get 169. So area equals 169 what? What do I label it? 169 what? 169 square meters. All right. Make sure, I'm not doing a good job of writing these periods here, but since these are abbreviations, remember you need to add a period at the end of abbreviations. Okay. So make sure you're doing that. All right. Okay. Let's go over to our worksheet. Page 1. Nope. This is not the first page. This is the first page. All right. So number 1 says find the areas of these squares using the formula. So we'll do the first one together. So S equals 9 inches. What's the area of the square? So write the formula down. Formula is area of a square is S times S. S equals 9 inches, so area equals 9 times 9. And multiply that out, I would get 9 times 9 is 81. 81 what? Squared inches, right? 81 squares that are 1 inch by 1 inch. So I'll do that for the rest of the problems for number 1. Number 2, find the area. Use the formula. Area equals length times width. This is for a rectangle, right? When the word by is used with the dimensions, the width is given first. The length is always the longest dimension. 4 feet by 6 feet equals 4 feet equals width, 6 feet equals length. Okay, so all right, so whenever you ever see like dimensions for something, the they always show the length first. Length times width, right? Length by width. So the length. All right. Oh, sorry. Length is always the longer dimensions. Sorry, that's it. Totally did that wrong. So they always give you the width first. Okay, the width is given first. So this is the width. The next part is the length. Sorry about that. Length times width, right? Yeah, okay. All right, so, okay. So the width is 4 and length is 6. And for a rectangle, you know that the longest side is always the length. Okay, so this is my longest side here. So in this example, this longest side of my rectangle is 6 feet, and the width is 4 feet. And you can just tell just by looking at this picture that it wouldn't make sense if I wrote it the other way. If I wrote 6 feet here and 4 feet here, you'd be like, what? Doesn't make sense. How come this side is 4 feet when it's how come this side is 4 feet and this side is 6 feet when this side is obviously longer than this side here, right? Yeah. So whatever is the longest measurement, that's the length. All right. So find the area. So remember the area of a rectangle. To figure out the area of rectangle, so the formula is area equals 2 times. Oh, sorry, I'm using the perimeter. Sorry. Area. Okay, yeah. Area is length times the width, and we know that the longest one out of the two is the length. So I would do 6, and then multiply that by my width, which is 4. All right, and you can do the rest by yourself. Even if you got it mixed up, if you did 4 times 6, I would still get the same answer, right? But I still need to see that you plugged in the numbers correctly, okay? So if I do see 4 times 6, even though you'll get the area correctly, you're plugging in the formula incorrectly. So if I see it on the test that you got it mixed up, then I can't give you full credit for the problem. All right, number 3, draw a rectangle 2 inch by 2 inch, divide it into 1 inch squares, find the area of the rectangle. So you would need to get a ruler out and measure 4 inches for the bottom here. Okay, and then on the side here needs to be 2 inches. You need to divide it into 1 inch squares. So use a ruler, measure out 1 inch. Okay, so this is definitely not accurate. So yeah. Make sure you measure out 1 inch. This is totally not accurate. So each one of these needs to be 1 inch, right, apart. And for the length here, this also needs to be 1 inch. So 1 inch and 1 inch. So if I want to divide this into squares, I'll just draw my lines that I use to mark, extend the lines that I use to mark the 1 inch spaces. All right. And find the area of the rectangle. All right. So use the formula. Area for a rectangle is length times width. All right. Let's go to our next page. Solve this measurement problem. 200 centimeters plus 3 meters equals how many centimeters? So this is a 1, 2, 3 problem again. So everything needs to be in centimeters. Since my answer is in centimeters, everything needs to be in centimeters. So what's not in centimeters? Or what is in centimeters? 200 is in centimeters already, so I can bring that down. Is 3 in centimeters? No, this is meters. So this is what I'm trying to figure out here. How many centimeters are in 3 meters? So am I going from big to small or small to big? Since I'm going from big to small, I am multiplying. Remember, when you're going from big to small, you are multiplying. Small to big, you are dividing. All right, special number, I'll give you the hint. Special number is 100. There's 100 centimeters in 1 meter. And you can figure out the rest by yourself. Multiply, very straightforward. All right, word problems, everyone's favorite. Okay, 6A, Trinity Church is planning to have carpet installed in the pastor's living room. The floor is 4 yards by 5 yards. The cost will be $54.95 per square yard. How much will it cost to carpet the floor? Okay, so this is a good question. So this is the reason why we're learning about finding the area of a rectangle, because it can help you solve these really real world problems here that you'll probably encounter in your life. So you have a floor here. It is 4 yards for the length, and for the width is 5 yards. So that doesn't make sense, right? I can't have my length be the just the shorter measurement. Okay, so 5 yards. Okay, and then 4 yards. So remember, the longest measurement is the length, and the width is always first. Width, then length. Okay. Anyways, so the floor here is 5 yards by 4 yards. The cost would be, so you gotta figure out, first, how many square yards do you need in order to completely fill this floor here with carpet. All right, how many of these square yards do you need? And so figure that out. Once you figure out what the area is, how many square yards, you need to multiply that number by how much it costs for them to just buy 1 square yard. So if one of the carpet pieces, let me color that in, make it look more like carpet. Okay, so this square carpet piece here, one of them costs, just for 1 square, it costs $54.95. Yeah, that's expensive. Okay, per square yard. All right, so how many of these square yards do they need in order to cover all this up? All right, so first figure out how many, what the area is. That'll tell you how many square yards, how many of these squares would be required, and multiply that by $54.95, because that will tell you how much they're going to need to spend if they want to cover the entire floor here with carpet. Okay. All right. B. Retiring as missionaries to Peru, Dr. and Mrs. Cantrell bought a mobile home that is 15 feet by 16 feet. So the first measurement is the width, so that's 15 feet. Second measurement is the length, which is 60 feet. All right. What is the area of the home? Well, it's very simple. Use the form. What's the area of this rectangle here? Okay. You can figure that out. Fill in the blanks. All right. So if you look on page 345, it's going to help you with figuring out all these different measurements. Okay. All right. Find the perimeter using the formulas. Square S equals 21 feet. So now you're finding perimeters. Remember, you're doing perimeters, not area, not for this part. Okay. You're looking for the perimeter, which is the length around the shape. All right. So if this square here is one side is 21 feet, so that means all the other sides also have to be 21 feet. How do I find the perimeter? So remember, the formula for perimeters of a square is perimeter equals 4 times S. Okay. And this time it's a rectangle. So that formula for finding the perimeter of a rectangle is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. All right. And the formula for the square is here. Okay, so write the formulas. So if you don't have the pages with the areas of a square, areas of rectangle formulas, you can go to page 343 for the area formulas, and page 349 will tell you, you can see the formulas for the perimeter. All right, so that is pretty much it. Okay, so not too bad today. Hopefully not. All right, take care, guys.